March 15, 2025. A 54-year-old widow from Cebu City boards a plane alone, clutching a one-way ticket to Houston. She's never been to America before, but she's convinced she's found her soulmate. Online. What she doesn't know is that the charming 24-year-old waiting for her has done this before, and she won't be coming home. How does a successful businesswoman fall for someone she's never met? And why do the people searching hardest for love often find something else entirely? Meet Luz Magdalena Reyes, a 54-year-old woman who built her life from the ground up. As the owner of a small textile business in Cebu City, she's known for her determination and heart. A widow for 6 years, she lost her husband, Gregorio, in a tragic motorcycle accident, leaving her to raise 3 children on her own. Her eldest, Carlos, 28, is the responsible one, always looking out for his siblings. Nina, 25, is a nurse full of compassion, while Rico, 21, is a university student with big dreams. They all admire their mother, her strength, her faith, her generosity. In their community, she's known as a devout Catholic and a woman of integrity. She's always there to help others, offering a job to someone in need or donating to charity. But beneath the surface, something has been missing for LSE. A yearning for companionship, someone to share her life with again. She thought her love story was over. Until one day, an unexpected message appeared in her inbox. Every day, LSE wakes up at 5 o'clock a.m. Her routine begins with prayers, quiet moments of reflection. Her only solace in the stillness of the early morning. Afterward, she manages her small textile business, overseeing a team of 12 employees. Her hands move quickly, stitching together fabric and fabricating dreams for her clients. But after the workday ends, the house feels unbearably empty. Her children, once the center of her world, have all moved to Manila for work. Carlos, Nina, and Rico. They visit occasionally, but their busy lives leave little time for the mother who raised them. Her house feels large, too large for one person. Her evenings are spent alone. No laughter echoing through the halls. No one to share a meal with. Friends, well-meaning but persistent, have tried to set her up with local men. But LSE feels invisible. These men are either too much like her late husband or simply not her type. She can't shake the feeling that her age, her history, her life, everything she's built, makes her seem like an afterthought. Even her recent 54th birthday, a milestone that could have been celebrated with her family, passed without a gathering. She spent it alone. Despite running a successful business. Despite all the lives she's touched, the quiet of the day lingered, filling the empty spaces in her heart. Then, just when she thought it might be the end of her search for love, something unexpected happened. As the anniversary of her husband's death approaches, the weight of loss presses down on LSE. It's been 6 years, but the pain still lingers like a shadow that refuses to leave. The quiet emptiness of that day fills her with a deep aching vulnerability. She tries to keep busy, but she can't escape the memories, the laughter, the love. The life they shared. Financially, the pandemic left scars on her business. The recovery is slow and every day feels like a fight to keep her dreams afloat. She's used to handling pressure, but lately the strain seems heavier. Despite her success, her mind often races with worry, questioning if she can truly make it through the storm. One evening, sitting with her sister at a small cafe, LSE confesses something she hasn't dared admit before. I feel forgotten. Forgotten as a woman, her voice cracks, the truth escaping her lips before she can stop it. Her sister, ever supportive, listens quietly, her hand reaching across the table in comfort. But the words hang in the air. A stark reminder of LSE's deepest fear. She had built everything. But what about love? In January 2025, LSE, feeling the weight of her loneliness, takes a step that surprises even her. She joins Cross Paths, an international Christian dating app. It's a platform where people looking for deep, meaningful connections can find others with similar faith and values. LSE fills out her profile. Simple and straightforward. Business owner, widow, looking for companionship. She doesn't expect much. In fact, she's skeptical. This world of online dating feels foreign to her, especially at her age. But there's something about the idea of connecting with someone who understands her faith, someone who shares her values, that feels different. Maybe this is how she can find someone to fill the empty spaces in her life. As she uploads a few photos, one of her at her textile shop, another in her garden with a soft smile, she hits submit. She's not expecting instant love, but she hopes just a little that there's someone out there who might see her. And then it happens. A message appears in her inbox waiting for her to open it. A message from a man named Alex. The message comes from Tyler James Anderson, a man who seems to have all the right things to say. He claims to be 24, an oil rig worker from Houston. His profile picture shows a handsome mixed-race man dressed in both work gear and church clothes. An image of rugged charm and faith, someone Luz could trust. His smile is warm, his eyes kind. He seems like the perfect gentleman, someone who understands the importance of family and faith. Luz, taken aback by the genuine tone of his messages, begins to open up. Tyler talks about his job, his love for God, and his interest in finding someone to build a life with. Their conversations flow easily. They talk about everything: life, love, faith. Tyler listens attentively, offering words of encouragement and comfort. He seems to genuinely care about her feelings, but there's something off. At first, it's barely noticeable. A missed detail here or a vague reference there. LSE doesn't think much of it. After all, the connection feels real. He's attentive, kind, and seemingly perfect. But the more they talk, the more LSE begins to notice the inconsistencies in his stories. What LSE doesn't know is that Tyler isn't who he says he is. His real name is Carlo Mendez, a 26-year-old unemployed man living with his girlfriend in Austin. He has no oil rig job, no high-paying career, and no glamorous life in Houston. What he does have is a history, one that LSE could never have guessed. Carlo, as Tyler, has a pattern, a disturbing one. He's been targeting older Filipino women for years, spinning tales of romance and love to lure them into his trap. His success in doing so has been chilling, and LSE unwittingly is next in line. But it's too soon for her to know this. For now, Tyler is the man who listens, who promises her everything she's been searching for. But for Carlo, this is just another scheme, another opportunity to manipulate, to take, to deceive. And LSE, she's about to walk right into his trap. At first, Tyler's messages are respectful, almost reverential. He calls Luz ma'am, Luz, a sign of respect in Filipino culture. Their conversations revolve around faith, with Tyler sharing Bible verses and discussing his beliefs. LSE, feeling a deep connection, begins to let her guard down. His kindness and attentiveness feel like a breath of fresh air. For the first time in years, she feels seen, valued, someone who understands her. It's just what she's been craving. By week 2, Tyler begins to share more about himself. He talks about his struggles growing up, how he lost both parents at a young age and had to work hard for everything he's ever had. He's humble yet determined. He tells LSE he's working tirelessly to save money for their future, emphasizing how he wants to build a life with someone like her, someone strong, someone worth fighting for. LSE feels drawn to him, his vulnerability pulling at her heartstrings. She begins to trust him more, believing in the love he seems to offer. By week 3, Tyler suggests a video call. LSE eagerly agrees, hoping to see the man who has quickly become a big part of her life. When the call begins, Tyler appears on screen, dressed in a rugged oil rig uniform, surrounded by what seems to be a bustling industrial location. He's working hard, just as he claimed. But LSE doesn't notice the subtle details, the awkward lighting, the shadows that don't match the environment, the faint hum of a green screen in the background. Tyler is far from the oil rig. This is a setup, an illusion designed to reinforce his fabricated story, but LSE doesn't question it. She's too smitten, too hopeful. As the weeks pass, Tyler's messages grow more intimate. In his texts, he writes, "I've never met a woman with your strength and beauty. Ma'am Luz." The compliments come frequently now, along with promises of a life built on mutual respect and shared dreams. LSE is overwhelmed by his words. She feels validated. Here's a man who understands her, who sees beyond the years, beyond the distance. For the first time in years, she feels desired. By month 3, Tyler begins to talk about the future, their future. He starts saying things like, "I want to marry you, give you the life you deserve." The words are sweet, comforting, and filled with promises of a new beginning. He tells her he's already planning the life they'll share together. They'll live in Houston, where he'll take care of her, make up for the years of loneliness, and provide for everything she's ever wanted. Tyler paints a picture of a life full of love and happiness. And LSE, starved for companionship, can't help but imagine it, believe it. What she doesn't see is the trap closing around her. Every word, every gesture is part of his design. A careful orchestration to win her over, to take advantage of the one thing she craves most, love. As time goes on, LSE starts to notice small inconsistencies, but she brushes them aside. After all, no relationship is perfect. Right? One of the first red flags is Tyler's inability to take calls during his supposed work shifts. He always has a reasonable excuse. "I'm in the middle of something, or it's too loud here to talk." Yet, when he does manage to pick up, he's always at a location that seems too quiet. LSE doesn't question it. She trusts him. After all, he's always apologetic about not being available. What LSE doesn't know is that while she's trying to reach him, Tyler is with his girlfriend in Austin, living the life of someone who isn't working on an oil rig at all. Then there are the photos. Tyler's profile is full of them. Selfies and work gear, pictures of him in church clothes, smiling with friends. But when LSE, in a moment of curiosity, tries to reverse search the images, she finds something alarming. The photos are stock images used repeatedly across the web. But LSE has no idea how to check these things. She's never been that tech-savvy. She's never thought to question the authenticity of his pictures. She believes in the man she's talking to, and that's all that matters to her. Then there are the little things. He says, the stories about his life that just don't add up. He mentions living in Houston for years, but when LSE presses him for details about his life there, he gets vague. He talks about a close-knit church family, but when she asks about specific people, he changes the subject. He tells her about his humble beginnings, yet the details shift each time. Sometimes he was raised by his aunt, sometimes by a family friend. LSE attributes these discrepancies to cultural differences. After all, they come from different worlds. She reasons that maybe he's just not great at talking about the past and it doesn't matter. What matters is the future. LSE, blinded by hope and desperate for connection, ignores the red flags. She's already invested too much in the dream Tyler has sold her, and the possibility that he's anything but the perfect man she believes him to be is too painful to consider. So she lets it slide, convincing herself that the love she's found is worth the wait, worth the uncertainty. But with each passing day, the web grows tighter, and Tyler, or rather Carlo, is one step closer to trapping her. As the weeks stretch on, the messages become more frequent and with them more urgent. Tyler or Carlo knows exactly how to manipulate LSE's emotions. And it starts with small, seemingly harmless requests for money. First, it's an emergency medical bill. Tyler tells LSE that one of his coworkers was injured on the oil rig, and the company is refusing to cover the medical costs. I just need $800 to help him out. He says, he's like a brother to me, and I can't stand to see him suffer. The request is framed with sympathy, pulling on losses heartstrings. She hesitates, but wanting to be supportive wires the money. She feels good about helping someone in need, especially someone she's come to care for deeply. Tyler thanks her profusely, promising to pay her back as soon as he can. A week later, another message arrives. This time, Tyler claims that some of his work equipment was stolen while he was at the rig. I'm short $1,200 to replace everything, he explains. If I don't have the equipment, I can't work and I can't provide for you. The urgency in his voice is convincing. He's vulnerable, struggling, just trying to get by. He tells LSE that if she can help with this, he'll be able to continue sending money for their future. Her heart aches for him, and without thinking twice, she agrees. Another wire transfer. Another sacrifice made in the name of love. But as the days pass, the requests don't stop. The next one is even more troubling. Tyler sends a message, this time about a once-in-a-lifetime investment opportunity. He explains that he's found a chance to start a business together, a way for both of them to build the future they've been dreaming about. All he needs is $3,500 to secure his part of the deal. This is the chance I've been waiting for. He tells her, his words almost desperate. I want us to have everything we deserve. Ma'am Luz. I want to give you the world. LSE, now fully invested emotionally, feels a growing sense of urgency. Tyler's vision for their future seems within reach, and she doesn't want to be the one to stand in the way of their dreams. What's $3,500 when it means securing the life they've been talking about for months? Without a second thought, she sends the money. But what LSE doesn't know is that each of these requests is part of a pattern. A pattern designed to wear her down, to manipulate her into giving more, to soften her defenses until the final blow is dealt. Tyler's financial struggles are nothing more than lies, carefully crafted to make her feel responsible for his problems. And with every transfer, LSE unknowingly deepens her commitment to a man who never had any intention of paying her back or even building a life with her. It doesn't take long for LSE's children to start noticing something isn't right. Na, her 25-year-old daughter, is the first to uncover the money transfers. One evening, while helping her mother go through some paperwork, she stumbles upon the bank statements. Several large wire transfers. To a man she's never met for amounts that seem suspiciously high. Na's heart sinks as she reads the details. "Mom," she says, trying to keep her voice steady. "What is this? You've sent all this money to him." Luz's face turns pale and she can't meet her daughter's eyes. She tries to explain to justify her actions. "He needed it, Nina. He's going through some tough times and I want to help him. He promised he'd pay me back." But Na's not convinced. "Mom, this doesn't sound right. You've never met him. This is not how real relationships work. You've been talking to this guy for months and you've never even seen him in person. Don't you see? This is a scam." Elle's eyes fill with tears as she tries to defend Tyler. "I believe in him, Nina. I trust him." But the doubt in Na's voice, her concern is enough to make LSE question herself just for a moment. The confrontation escalates when Carlos, her 28-year-old son, gets involved. He's always been protective of his mother. And when he learns what's been going on, he's furious. "I'm going to report this to the authorities," he tells LSE, his voice sharp with anger. "This guy is taking advantage of you. This is a scam. Mom. I don't care what you think. I'm not letting you throw away your life like this." Carlos insists that they go to the police, that they put a stop to it before LSE gets hurt even more. But LSE refuses. She insists that Tyler is real, that he's just going through a rough patch. She won't hear of it. To her, it feels like a betrayal. Her children questioning the man she's come to believe in. Rico, her youngest, watches the chaos unfold in silence. He's not as vocal as Carlos, but his worry is written all over his face. After the confrontation, he pulls his mother aside, his voice trembling with fear. "Mom, please don't go to America. Don't travel alone to meet him. I'm scared. Please just listen to me." For the first time, LSE sees the fear in her son's eyes. She knows he loves her, but the weight of his words hits harder than she's prepared for. Still, she's torn. How could she turn her back on the one person who has shown her affection, who has promised her the world? The voices of her children, full of concern and love, battle against her deep desire for the life she's dreamed of. But in her heart, she knows there's something wrong here. She can feel it. Even if she's not ready to admit it yet. The seeds of doubt have been planted. Now it's a matter of whether she'll trust her children or the man who's built a perfect illusion around her. As the days pass, the warning signs grow harder to ignore. It's not just her children who are concerned now. Her entire community starts to take notice. Father Miguel, the parish priest who has known LSE for years, pulls her aside after Mass one Sunday. He's concerned. His brow furrowed with worry. "Luz," he begins gently. "I've heard stories online. Predators have been targeting people like you, kind, trusting souls, convincing them they found love, but it's all a lie. Please be careful." LSE feels a knot form in her stomach. Father Miguel has always been a source of comfort. His guidance grounded in years of wisdom. Yet she brushes off his concern, still believing in the man she's been talking to. "He's a good man, Father. I believe in him," she replies, her voice trembling. But the warnings don't stop there. Her business partner, Tata Carmen, a close friend of the family, also takes the opportunity to speak up. Luz, I've heard of this before. Scams like this. There are so many people out there pretending to be someone they're not just to take advantage of your kindness. Tush shares the story of a cousin who was once targeted by a man who claimed to be a successful entrepreneur in America. He'd promised her the world just like Tyler had promised LSE. And before she knew it, she'd been financially drained. He's using your trust, LSE. Don't let him do to you what he did to my cousin. Despite Tata Carmen's efforts, LSE still doesn't want to believe it. The idea that someone she's come to care about could be lying to her is too painful to face. The final wake-up call comes from Captain Reyes, a local police officer who happens to share the same surname as LSE. He's heard rumors around town, and his duty to protect the community leads him to have a candid conversation with LSE. He tells her about the growing trend of online scams, how these predators use fake profiles to lure in vulnerable people, often leading to financial ruin. I'm not trying to scare you, Luz, he says, his tone firm but kind. I just want you to be aware. People like this, Tyler, they're not looking for love. They're looking to take from you. Captain Reyes offers to help her investigate, to trace the money she sent, and to take action if needed. But again, LSE hesitates. Her mind is clouded with doubt and confusion. Could Tyler really be one of these predators? Or is her trust in him simply misplaced? The growing concern of the people around her starts to chip away at the walls she's built around herself. Slowly, LSE begins to see the cracks in the illusion, but the deeper she falls into the web, the harder it becomes to untangle herself. Despite the growing chorus of concern from her family, friends, and even the community, LSE remains steadfast in her belief in Tyler. Her heart, desperate for connection, refuses to see the truth her eyes can no longer ignore. One afternoon, after another heated conversation with Nina, LSE defends her decisions with a voice tinged with frustration and emotion. You don't understand what it's like to be alone, Nina, she says. Her hands trembling slightly as she clenches them into fists. I've spent years raising you all, building this business. But when the day ends and you're all gone, I'm just alone. He sees me for who I am, not just a mother or boss. For the first time in years, someone is making me feel wanted, appreciated. Her eyes well up as she speaks, the raw vulnerability spilling out as she tries to explain why she's made the choices she has. Tyler listens to me. He doesn't see me as a widow or a businesswoman. He sees me as a woman. He makes me feel like I matter again. Nah, standing in front of her, pleads with her mother to see reason. But LSE is resolute. Sometimes love requires faith, not proof, she adds, her voice soft but firm. I've always believed in love, Nina. Maybe it's just about trusting. Maybe that's all we can do sometimes. The words hang in the air, heavy with her longing for connection. For LSE, love isn't just about logic or proof. It's about feeling seen, feeling valued. It's about letting go of the years of grief and isolation and taking a chance on something that feels real. She wants to believe in it so badly that she's willing to ignore the mounting evidence that tells her otherwise. As she speaks, a part of her knows the truth. But the desire to hold on to the dream she's built with Tyler keeps her from seeing it fully. Her defense isn't just against her family. It's against the painful reality she's terrified to face. The possibility that Tyler isn't who he says he is too much to bear. For LSE, the Faith she places in him is her last hope for a future filled with love, something she hasn't felt in years. The moment LSE receives the message from Tyler, her heart skips a beat. He sent the money for her plane ticket $2,400. He claims it's all set, "Ma'am Luz," he writes. "I've bought your plane ticket. From Manila to Houston with a stop in Dubai. It's time for us to be together. I can't wait to hold you in my arms." Luz's joy is palpable. This is it. The moment she's been waiting for. The life she's dreamed of is finally coming true. Tyler's words feel like a validation of everything she's believed in for the past few months. The trust, the faith. It's all been worth it. She can feel the excitement bubbling up inside her, imagining herself finally stepping off that plane and into his arms. But what she doesn't know is that the $2,400 isn't new money. It's her own money she's already sent to Tyler, recycled back to her with the promise of a future that doesn't exist. It's all part of the scheme. But LSE doesn't see it. She's too excited, too wrapped up in the vision he's painted of their life together. The next step is just as shocking. LSE makes a decision that will change everything. She liquidates her business savings account, $112,800 in cash, and sends the money to Tyler. She convinces herself that this is an investment in their future, a necessary sacrifice for the life they've planned. Tyler reassures her, telling her it will all pay off once they're together. She feels a sense of peace in her heart, believing that the money will be used for their dream. Now LSE makes the announcement to her family. She sits them down, her face glowing with anticipation. "I'm taking an extended vacation to America," she says. "I'll be gone for a while. Tyler and I have been planning this for months and it's finally happening. I'll be back soon. Don't worry." Her children are stunned. Carlos, Nina, and Rico exchange worried glances. "Mom, you're not thinking of going there alone, are you?" Carlos asks, his voice strained, but LSE brushes off their concerns. "I'm going to be fine," she insists, smiling for the first time in what feels like forever. "This is my chance at happiness. You'll understand when you see how happy he makes me." But in her heart, a nagging feeling persists. A faint echo of doubt is fleeting, almost imperceptible, but it's there. Still, LSE pushes it aside. Convinced this is the right choice. The dream she's held on to for so long is finally within her reach. As she packs her bags for the journey ahead, the final step in her leap of faith. She doesn't know that the life she's about to walk into will shatter everything she's built and leave her with nothing but regret. The morning of her departure is heavy with tension. LSE tries to mask the discomfort, but her children's concerns hang in the air like an unspoken weight. At the breakfast table, they exchange forced smiles, pretending everything is fine. But the worry in their eyes is unmistakable. Carlos, nah. And Rico, all of them hesitant to see their mother go, try one last time to convince her to stay. But Luz, with the same quiet determination she's always had, reassures them. "I'll be fine," she says, voice trembling slightly. "This is something I need to do for me." They say their goodbyes, hugs that linger too long, kisses that feel too final. Then, with a mixture of excitement and sorrow, she steps out the door. At the airport, LSE is in her best dress, clutching her new luggage. She's ready for this new chapter, this adventure, as she tells herself. Her heart races with anticipation, and the reality of what she's about to do hits her all at once. Her children's voices echo in her mind. their warnings fading into the background as she pulls up her phone to send one last message. She snaps a selfie, her face lit up with a mix of excitement and nerves, and sends it to her children. "Your mama is going on an adventure," she writes, her smile wide, masking the unease inside her. The 18-hour journey feels like a blur. Manila to Dubai to Houston. Time zones shift and LSE occupies herself with what she can. She practices English phrases, reading through tourist brochures she picked up at the airport. She can't wait to finally meet Tyler in person, to see the life she's been promised. She texts him constantly, sharing each new milestone of her trip. "Almost there, my love," she writes as her plane descends toward Houston. His replies come quickly, but something is off. "There. Shorter now." "Good. I can't wait," he writes. Then a few hours later, another message. "Almost there, baby. Stay strong." His urgency is evident, but LSE doesn't question it. She's almost there, too. Just a few more hours and she'll finally be with him. It's 4:30 p.m. local time on March 16, 2025. When LSE steps off the plane into the humid air of Houston, Tyler is waiting for her in the bustling airport terminal, holding a bouquet of flowers. His nervous energy is palpable. When their eyes meet, she can't help but smile. It's really happening. But then something catches LSE off guard. Tyler looks different. He's older than the photos she's seen. His face rougher, his smile more forced. She hesitates, but only for a moment. "Camera angles," he explains quickly, brushing it off with a nervous laugh. "You know how it is. But you're even more beautiful in person, Mahal." The term of endearment, Mahal, feels familiar to Luz. And for a moment, it settles her nerves. Maybe she's just being paranoid. After all, this is the man she spent months getting to know. The one who promised her a new beginning. So, she lets the red flag slide, focusing on the joy of finally meeting him. Tyler drives her out of the airport and into the warm, sticky evening. But as the minutes tick by, LSE begins to feel uneasy. They're not heading for a hotel in Houston like she expected. Instead, Tyler takes a turn onto a deserted highway, driving them 2 hours out to an isolated motel in Beaumont. "More private for us, baby," he explains, his voice low and reassuring. "No distractions, just us." LSE feels a strange chill at the back of her neck. She's always been cautious, but she wants to believe in the life they've talked about. She wants to believe in him, so she pushes the worry aside. When they arrive at the motel, it's old, run down, and eerily quiet. Tyler pays in cash, no ID required, and takes the key to room 108. LSE texts Nina, her heart still fluttering with excitement and uncertainty. "He's wonderful, going somewhere quiet to get to know each other. I'll be fine." That would be her last message home. The motel clerk later recalls seeing LSE and Tyler that evening. She looked happy but tired. He remembers. "I could tell she was excited, but she seemed worn out, too." The man, though he looked nervous, like he had something on his mind. He paid in cash. Didn't even give his name. "I didn't think much of it, though." The motel's security camera captured them entering room 108 at 7:23 p.m. Tyler's demeanor shifts once they're alone. No more camera watching. No more pretending. The man LSE thought she knew. The one who'd promised her the world was nowhere to be found. In his place was someone colder. More calculating. As the door clicked shut behind them, the real nightmare was just beginning. The first 24 hours in Houston should have been filled with joy, excitement, and the thrill of new beginnings. But for LSE, everything quickly begins to unravel. After they check into the motel, the communication with her family starts to slow down. Her messages become less frequent, and the tone of her texts shifts slightly. At first, she chalks it up to the excitement of their reunion and the intimacy of being together. Tyler seems to be enjoying the attention, constantly complimenting her and reassuring her. But then something strange happens. Tyler begins posting pictures of LSE on his social media, tagging her as his Filipino queen. The posts are public, and LSE feels an unsettling discomfort. But she brushes it off, telling herself it's just his way of showing affection. Tyler, meanwhile, is basking in the attention. He doesn't realize it, but his need to show off is setting the stage for something darker. Behind the scenes, however, things are beginning to take a darker turn. Tyler demands access to Los's remaining money. $12800, which she had liquidated from her business savings. When she hesitates, a subtle shift in his demeanor takes place. His words grow sharper, his tone colder. He tells her that she promised him a future together, and this is a part of that commitment. As LSE pulls back, trying to understand why he's pressuring her so much, the first instance of physical intimidation occurs. Tyler grabs her wrist, forcing her to look at him, his face twisted in anger. The fear that flares up in LSE is undeniable, but she stays silent, convincing herself that it's a one-time thing, a misunderstanding. As the days pass, Luz's communication with her family becomes more sparse. She misses a scheduled video call with Nina and Carlos, telling herself she's just too tired to check in. But something feels off. Her gut tells her that she's being isolated, slowly losing touch with the world she knows. Tyler, too, seems more controlling. He begins to bring up money more frequently, his tone growing more frustrated as he realizes that LSE only brought $12,800 with her. "You lied to me about how much money you had," he accuses, his voice laced with anger. LSE tries to explain that she's brought what she thought was enough, but Tyler's temper rises quickly. LSE, trying to defuse the situation, suggests calling her family back home. She's still clinging to the hope that everything will return to normal, but this time Tyler is having none of it. He grabs her phone and pushes her back onto the bed, telling her, "It's not the right time. You don't need to talk to them." He sneers. "You're with me now. This is where you belong." The psychological abuse begins in earnest as Tyler begins to chip away at LS's sense of control, twisting her reality to fit his narrative. LSE, terrified but still hoping that everything will be okay, tries to ignore the voice in her head, telling her that something has gone horribly wrong. By March 18th, the situation has escalated beyond what LSE could have ever imagined. She wakes up to silence. Her phone, once her lifeline to the outside world, is taken away from her. There are no more texts, no more calls, no more communication with her children. LSE is isolated, completely alone with Tyler. And then unexpectedly, there's a knock at the door. Tyler's girlfriend from Austin has arrived. The woman Luz was never told about. Her eyes are filled with jealousy and anger when she sees LSE. She questions Tyler in front of LSE, her voice rising with every accusation. The confrontation between the two women and Tyler reaches a breaking point, escalating into a violent, Chaotic scene. LSE tries to back away, but she's trapped. Caught in a situation she never saw coming. The violence is sudden and overwhelming. The next few days are a blur of fear and pain. LSE is subjected to physical and psychological torment. The violence continues. Extended assault over multiple days as Tyler and his girlfriend take turns controlling her, breaking her down bit by bit. The assault is not just physical. It's a brutal exercise in control, a punishment for every moment of defiance, every ounce of resistance she tries to muster. LSE fights for her life, but she's in a foreign country with no one to help her. She's isolated, vulnerable, and terrified. The world she once knew seems so far away, and the dream of love and a new life has turned into a nightmare from which she cannot escape. In her final moments, LSE, broken but not beaten, tries desperately to reach her phone. She fumbles for it, her hand trembling, praying she can call her children one last time. The pain in her body is overwhelming, but the thought of her family, of the life she almost had, keeps her going. Her only hope is that she can somehow make it out, that they will know what happened before it's too late. But time is running out. By March 20th, 2025, Luz's family is in full panic mode. They haven't heard from her in over 48 hours, and the usual updates she would send are nowhere to be found. Na, increasingly frantic, checks her messages and calls over and over again, only to be met with silence. The fear in her gut grows with each passing hour. There's no response to her texts, no missed calls, nothing. She knows something's wrong. Desperate for answers, Nina reaches out to the Philippine embassy in Houston. She explains the situation, telling them that her mother was supposed to be staying with a man she met online. The embassy quickly begins the process of conducting a welfare check. Understanding the urgency of the situation, the wheels of bureaucracy slowly start to turn, but time is slipping away and Na fears the worst. March 21st rolls around and the local police begin their investigation. They track Los's last known location to the motel in Beaumont, but by the time they arrive, Tyler and his girlfriend have already fled, leaving no trace of themselves except for the aftermath of their violence. Motel staff, who hadn't thought anything suspicious at first, begin to notice a foul, lingering odor coming from room 108. Concerned, the manager goes to check the room, but finds the door barricaded from the outside. A clear sign that something terrible has happened. With mounting dread, the manager contacts the authorities, urging them to break down the door. The police arrive quickly, but what they find inside is too horrifying for words. At 6:15 a.m. on March 22nd, the police break down the door to room 108. The scene inside is nothing short of catastrophic. It's too graphic to fully describe, but the evidence of prolonged assault, torture, and sexual violence is undeniable. The room is a testament to the horror that LSE endured during the days she was trapped there. Her phone, lying among the debris, shows 47 missed calls from her children. The last call, the last desperate attempt to reach her, is a reminder of the love and hope she tried to hold on to even as her life slipped away. The police immediately begin to collect evidence. But Los's family can't be prepared for the devastating news that follows. As the investigation continues, Tyler's true identity begins to unravel. Through the motel registration, the police learn that Tyler's real name is Carlo Mendez, a 26-year-old man with a history of scamming and exploiting vulnerable women. Bank records show multiple cash withdrawals from LSE's accounts using her credit cards, confirming that Tyler, or rather Carlo, had been using her money for his own gain the entire time. The breakthrough comes when Tyler's girlfriend under interrogation finally provides the location of the couple. They are found and arrested 72 hours later at a casino in Louisiana trying to flee the scene and cover their tracks, but it's too late. The damage has been done. It's 3 a.m. in Manila when Na's phone rings. She picks up, her heart pounding, knowing something is terribly wrong. The voice on the other end is somber, too calm, too final. Ms. Reyes, the officer says, this is the Philippine Embassy. We found your mother. I'm sorry she didn't survive. The words hit Na like a freight train. Her breath catches in her throat and for a moment the world around her seems to crumble. She can't process the information. She didn't expect this. Couldn't have prepared for this. She had been hoping, praying that it was all just a misunderstanding, that her mother would call and everything would be okay. But now the truth hits her with brutal finality. The devastation sinks in as the realization sets in. The man who promised Luz a future. The man who she trusted and gave everything for never existed. The life she had imagined, the love she believed in was a lie from the start. In the dead of night, Nina collapses into grief. The weight of her loss too heavy to bear. The truth about her mother's fate is incomprehensible. And the world feels darker than it ever has before. Carlo Mendez, the man who had posed as the charming, successful Tyler James Anderson, was not the man LSE had imagined him to be. In reality, Mendez was an unemployed construction worker with a long history of criminal behavior. His past was marred by domestic violence, fraud, and theft. Crimes that had gone largely unnoticed or unpunished, allowing him to continue his manipulative schemes. His girlfriend, Ashley Rodriguez, had known about the scam from the beginning. She had actively participated in the deception, helping Carlo orchestrate the entire con. But when things took a darker turn and the scam escalated into murder, Ashley was not just a bystander. She was an accomplice, complicit in every twisted moment of LS suffering. Mendez and Rodriguez had targeted two other Filipino women before LSE, though both victims had survived their encounters with Carlo. They had never reported him, either out of shame or fear, leaving him free to pursue his predatory behavior unchecked. The digital trail left behind by Carlo and Ashley was damning. Fake profiles, money transfers, and threatening messages all painted a clear picture of their intentions. The physical evidence was no less incriminating. DNA samples and fingerprints from the crime scene tied them both to the murder. Surveillance footage from the motel provided a chilling record of their arrival and actions during the days leading up to Losa's death. Witness testimony further sealed their fate. Motel staff and other guests had heard the unmistakable sounds of screaming from room 108, but by the time anyone could intervene, it was too late. The testimony painted a vivid picture of the terror endured in those final moments. Trapped and isolated in a place she believed would be her new beginning. In June 2025, Carlo Mendez and Ashley Rodriguez stood trial for their crimes. Both defendants plead not guilty, attempting to claim that Losa's death was the result of an unfortunate accident during a robbery gone wrong. But the prosecution's case was unrelenting, presenting clear evidence of premeditated murder with extreme cruelty. The defense's argument that LSE had been killed during a robbery was quickly dismantled as the facts pointed to something far more sinister. This had been an act of torture, not a crime of opportunity. LSE had been manipulated, isolated, and ultimately destroyed by two people who saw her only as a means to an end. Luz's children, still reeling from the loss of their mother, were granted the opportunity to testify via video link from the Philippines. Their heartfelt testimony was a gut-wrenching reminder of the woman they had lost. The mother who had been taken from them in the most brutal of ways. Their voices filled with grief and anger, painted a picture of a woman who had been loved and was now gone, forever robbed of the chance at happiness she had sought. The trial concluded with a verdict that offered little solace to Luz's family. Carlo Mendez was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Ashley Rodriguez, who had played a key role in the scam and murder, was sentenced to 25 years for accessory to murder. In his final statement, the judge made a powerful declaration. This was torture, not robbery. A woman died for the crime of seeking love. The words echoed in the courtroom, a painful reminder of the inhumanity that had unfolded in that quiet motel room. Luz's body was returned to the Philippines for burial, where her family mourned their loss in private. Their grief compounded by the knowledge that her death had been a senseless, preventable tragedy. In the wake of L's death, her children filed a lawsuit against the dating app Cross Paths, arguing that the platform had failed to ensure the safety of its users. The lawsuit claimed that the app had allowed predators like Carlo Mendez to operate freely, targeting vulnerable individuals under the guise of love. The lawsuit garnered significant attention and sparked discussions about the safety measures on international dating platforms. In response to the outcry, new legislation was proposed, aiming to regulate online dating platforms more rigorously. The legislation focused on the implementation of safety protocols, including stronger identity verification, background checks, and more comprehensive monitoring of user interactions. While Luz's death could never be undone, her story became a catalyst for change, pushing for greater accountability in the online dating industry and helping to prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future. But for LSE's family, the wounds remained, and the loss of their mother and daughter would haunt them forever. LSE wasn't a statistic. She was a mother who worked 12-hour days so her children could go to university. She was a boss who never missed payroll, even during lockdowns. She was a woman who lost her husband too young and dared to believe love could find her again. Elle's life was one of hard work, sacrifice, and a love for her family that transcended everything. She was not just a victim. She was a person with dreams, with a future she hoped to build and a past that shaped who she was. A woman who simply wanted to be loved and to love in return. That is who we lost. Not just a statistic, but a mother, a sister, a friend. In her luggage, police would find a letter, a final message from LSE, written in the days before she left. If something happens to me, know that I came here because I still believe in love. Those words reveal the heart of LS's tragedy. She was seeking something that so many of us crave: connection, intimacy, the hope that love could still find us, no matter how old we are, no matter the pain we carry. Her children, in their grief, expressed their forgiveness. We're not angry at Mama. We're angry at the evil people who took advantage of her heart. That's where the real anger should lie, at the predators who manipulate vulnerable souls, who use trust as a weapon and leave destruction in their wake. How many more women are in danger right now? How many others are being deceived, manipulated, and made to believe they found love only to lose everything? What would you have done in her children's position? Would you have seen the signs? Would you have acted sooner? How do we protect people without crushing hope, without making them afraid to trust? The balance between caution and hope is delicate, but it is necessary. If this story moved you, if it opened your eyes, if it made you think about someone you know who might be vulnerable, don't just watch and scroll away. Share this video. Start conversations. Check on the people in your life who might be silently struggling with loneliness. And if you are talking to someone online who seems too perfect, who needs money, who wants you to travel alone, please get a second opinion. Your life is worth more than any romance. Subscribe if you want more stories that matter. Hit that like button if you think Luz's story deserves to be heard. And tell me in the comments, what can we do to prevent this from happening again? Because the next Luz Magdalena Reyes shouldn't have to die for love.